I would like to take a moment to quickly reflect with you on a specific part of the truly wonderful story we read in the Gospel of Luke chapter 8, which is the powerful story of the healing of the woman with the issue of blood. The story tells us that this was a woman who had suffered from this illness. And I want to ask you, how many long years did this difficult illness last? For 12 long and difficult years, she suffered from a persistent and debilitating flow of blood. The Gospel of Luke tells us that she had spent every last bit of her livelihood and savings on various doctors and medical physicians. She spent all her money on every possible treatment, yet she was not able to be healed or cured by anyone she sought help from. She did not receive healing. What did she do? She came to the Lord Jesus. She came to him in faith. She reached out and touched him in deep faith, truly believing that if she could just touch him, she would be fully healed. The Gospel of Luke records that the very moment she touched the hem of the Lord's outer garment, immediately her flow of bleeding stopped completely and immediately. Dear viewer, this bleeding refers to the bleeding of this woman. It talks about a certain kind of bleeding that sometimes unexpectedly occurs in our daily lives. For example, this might be similar to when you have a stressful problem at work and you attempt to fix the problem. You try to find a way to solve the issue, and maybe solving the problem requires you to spend some money. So you spend money. You might end up just like this woman, spending and losing money, but there is no result. It remains a continual bleeding, like that broken machine. Every time you fix it, it completely breaks down again. It's a kind of bleeding because you're fixing it with money. You're losing. You're losing. You're losing. You're losing. You might have a problem. Sometimes there's a specific problem deep inside the house. A problem with one of your children. For example, a problem with your wife. You try to solve it, you put in effort, and you keep putting in effort. And the problem just gets more complicated. It's a bleeding of wasted time and wasted effort. And people get involved in the problem, and their time is wasted too because there is no result. So this bleeding is not just physical bleeding. It's not just the blood of a woman suffering from such a disease. No, a person might have another illness, undergoing medical treatment and spending a lot of money. He goes to this doctor, but the illness doesn't improve. Then to another different doctor, spending money with no real result. This is what bleeding means. Bleeding is when I put in effort and lose. And every day there is loss. Every day there is loss. That is actually bleeding right now. When I find this happening to me, this story truly encourages me. And why exactly is that? Because that's my faith. We know that the Lord Jesus Christ, as the letter to the Hebrews says, he remains the same yesterday, today, and forever. Just as he saw this woman in the past, he heals now and will heal in the future. Dear viewer, this story is very encouraging for anyone experiencing bleeding, whether it's bleeding in facing an illness, bleeding in facing a problem at work, bleeding in facing a family problem, whatever the type of bleeding may be. This story is very encouraging and deeply powerful. Come to the Lord Jesus with a profound faith and believe that the Lord will stop this bleeding and all the ongoing losses in your life will finally cease. Truly believe that the Lord commands and the bleeding will stop immediately. Believe that the bleeding in your life, which is causing you great exhaustion and bringing you so much hardship, will come to an end. Your nerves become strained and you start yelling because you're making a massive effort. But in the end, all that constant effort brings nothing at all. It only brings a minus, it brings loss. That's what bleeding is. Come to the Lord Jesus, because it's not a coincidence that you're hearing me now. There's no such thing as coincidence in our matters with the Lord. The Lord is encouraging you and telling you, I healed the woman with the issue of blood. She had been bleeding for 12 years. How long have you been bleeding? 3 years? The problem is eating you up. You have a problem that's been eating away at you for 3 years, 5 years, 12 years. The Lord is telling you, come to me and I will give you rest. Approach me now and I will give the order. And the bleeding will cease at once. And instead of losing, you will start to gain. Dear viewer, sometimes the cause of the bleeding is demonic matters, witchcraft and things of that sort. Come to the Lord Jesus in faith. And the Lord will stop this demonic activity, whether it is because of witchcraft or because of curses, whatever it may be. Come to the Lord Jesus. There is a specific kind of restorative healing from every different variety of bleeding.